Welcome back to TC&A's monthly newsletter. We are happy to have you here at Your Choice, where we offer free weekly coaching into your inbox. And you'll notice that we have a guest with us this month. We are excited to do something new at TC&A with Your Choice this year, where we are interviewing our clients once a month. And Denise Junqueiro is more than a client as well. She's been with us for many, many years. I'll let Tess and her fill you in on all of those details. But she comes to us today as the Vice President of Global Marketing for Fresh Formulaics, and she has an amazing career journey and inward journey that she has been on with us for many years, and we're looking forward to telling you more about that today. So I'll kick it over to Tess to intro a little bit more of Denise. Welcome, Denise. Welcome, Tess.
Thank you.
To
Mm,
have this
Happy
chat
to be
today.
here.
Denise, we're so excited to have you here, and it just brings back a flood of memories of when we
Mhm.
first started our journey together. And I'll say the end of the story where you said to me, this coaching can't stop now. It needs to keep going." And that comment came from when we were working with you with California Agricultural Leadership Foundation. And in that experience, you were one of the fellows, and I'll let you fill in the class and the experience. But what was interesting with that, it was the first time this organization was offering coaching.
Mhm.
And I was one of the coaches, and it was just such a pleasure to work with you and the others in the organization. And so with that experience of connection, you and I immediately connected in the
Mhm.
coaching context. And we have since been together in relationship for 13 plus years. Yeah, it's pretty incredible. And certainly, you haven't needed coaching all of those years, but there's been touch points of coaching throughout those years that have helped you in your inward journey for the external outcomes that you wanted to experience. So, from that experience to where you are now, what has really stood out in the coaching process that has meant something to you and has been meaningful to you?
Yeah, well, thank you. And I can't believe it has been 13 years, but it
I know.
has. And timing is definitely everything. And it was perfect timing for me to be part of that program, to be part of Class 42, to be part of that group, and for them to be introducing this coaching component. It was absolutely the most perfect time for me in that. And you and I did connect right off the bat. And one of the things for coaching, it gave me the opportunity to explore my own behavioral patterns that were creating the situations within my work life. My career has always been something very important to me. It has always been given, like just gives to me. It's something that very much fulfills me. It's something I thrive in, I love. And yet I was running into these challenges. Some of them are very typical challenges. A lot of women here. I work in a
Mhm.
male-dominated field, and you could go into all of that. But um, I didn't want to settle for just whatever the stereotypical was. I wanted to have a different experience, and I think that's just been very true for my whole life. Like I do believe that you can have a very different experience than what people quote unquote think you should be having or it should be. And so when the opportunity came and we started dialoguing about things, I was having a lot of challenges at that current company. And it was really due to personality styles and the relationship between me and my boss.
Mhm.
And it was really great timing. And, at that time I was pretty young. And so there were certain things, but from that point to where I am now is just leaps and bounds, leaps and bounds. Not only was that girl like young and ambitious and fresh and all these things, but she was also a little emotionally immature. And she also was a little naive and all those things. And I also had the behavior of, well, I'm right.
Mhm.
And, you know I'm right, so why aren't you listening to me?
Mhm.
And being upset and mad and just all of the tension, right? And I look back now and I'm glad it all happened, but doing the coaching really had to make me look inward and go, what are my behavioral patterns that are also contributing to this situation? That doesn't let the other person's behavioral patterns off the hook.
Absolutely.
But what it does do is it makes you more objective.
Mhm.
I am an emotionally driven person. I'm a very passionate person. So I have to check my emotions a lot. And coaching helps me be very objective, right? It helps me. You've always helped me go, okay, listen, here's this is what this type of personality is going to do.
Mhm.
And one of the things I've always loved, and I now really lean into, you can identify other people's predictable behaviors. And
Yeah.
then you decide how you're going to react to it. Like when you kind of sit with that, you're like, oh, yeah. And I mean, I used to be so reactive, and I am not as reactive as I used to be. Do I still have high emotions? Oh, yeah, 100%. But I'm not as reactive, and I'm able to have better dialogue, and I'm able to understand what is mine, what is theirs, and not take some of it so personally and move through it better. Just move through a lot of it better.
Yes, yes, that's so key. So key.
Mhm.
What I love about your story is in every iteration of the journey, you landed in a place where you could really build a team. And you
Mhm.
did a remarkable job
Thank
in building
you.
your team. You still are. And yet I'm just bringing back a memory of when we first started building the emotional intelligence, the inner work of your team, the understanding of their personality preferences. How was that in the coaching process of being able to bring those kind of leadership team meetings to you and your team and how it impacted the overall success of your team?
It really did change me as a leader. I saw my position as a leader more about them and how I was guiding the team and what I was doing with the team versus my own accomplishments. That was a huge shift for me because I'm an achiever. I'm an Enneagram 3, so I'm like rocking it. Um, and I was kind of pushed into it because I was pregnant.
Mhm.
And my team leaned on me a lot. And I owned that space and I loved that space. I like being needed. I like being in charge, all of those things. But they had to function without me for some time. And it was my job to get them ready.
Yes.
And I knew they weren't ready. And I knew part of the reason why they weren't ready was because I wasn't doing my job as a leader to get them ready. And so you came in, we did a session with them, and we identified a lot of things and a lot of dynamics within the team. And the one that was probably the most changing for me is I had a girl on my team who, or gal on my team who I really respected. She was phenomenal at her skill set, but we were so opposite. Like she put it to us straight when she said, Denise lives to work and I work to live. And it
Yeah.
was so true. Like
I
I'm a hard
remember that.
driver and she's like,
Yeah.
I'm on vacay. I'm not answering
Right.
email after I walk out of this office. And
Yeah.
I'm like 24/7.
Yes.
So but I wanted to learn, and I was pushing, pushing, pushing her. And I saw in our one-on-ones that it just like I didn't like the way it was feeling. And I thought to myself, one, how do I respect her and make sure that she feels valued and that she feels part of the team and that I am valuing her as part of the team and what she does and still meet her where she's at because everybody doesn't have to be the same.
Right.
And I can still get, and the company can still get everything they need out of her without it her having to be like me or a lot of the other people at the company. And so how do we do that? And that was a really, really big shift for me that we coached through quite a bit.
Mhm.
And I will say this to this day, Jen and I have an amazing relationship. If you ever interview her, she will say the same. But I will say she is one of my biggest teachers because we found our way. And what I quit doing was I quit pushing her, but I also let her know if she wanted more, there were certain things she was going to have to do to earn that responsibility and hold that responsibility because you can't hold higher levels of responsibility sometimes without being able to give to those other areas. It's just not handed over, right? There's always a give and take in things. And so it was transformative. It's still transformative as I learn different personality styles and the way people are motivated and the way they need to be managed, and how you also create unity within your team based on the different personality
Yeah.
styles.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That word unity stands out to me as well. I love that word. And
Mhm.
how are you creating that unity on your current team? Because you've been
Yeah.
doing it for so long, and I'm just curious of how is that working for you in this present day?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple different things that can happen too, and you have to lead and manage differently with I've inherited teams and I've created and built teams,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And I think it's more challenging when you inherit a team because they already have a rhythm and a dynamic. And each one of them is trying to figure out how are they going to work with you? How are you going to change their culture? How are you going to change? So it's always very interesting to like take on the team.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you take on the team, they already have their own rhythm, and then it's like, how do you become in unity with them?
Yes.
And then other times you're creating the unity because there's been chaos. I've worked at companies where there has been a tremendous amount of change twice now, right? Tons and
Yeah.
tons of change. And how do you manage people through that change? And how do you create unity within the change? Because people leave, people come, people go. But the main thing that I do is I want everybody to understand how they're contributing to the overall outcome of what the team has to do. And that they all know what the other person is doing and how what they're doing is contributing and supporting what the other person's doing, and how those things need to come together to create a good outcome and for us all to be successful. I make sure that everybody on the team understands the value of each position on the team and why it's there. And I really, really encourage them to cross, like, collaborate, right? They've got to all collaborate. You cannot work in a silo on my team. It does not work. It doesn't happen. And I will not coach and lead you just by yourself.
Mm.
So that is like a big thing. We've also done some seminars with them. So they all get to know each other a little bit better and they
Mhm.
understand each other's strengths and weaknesses and when they can lean on each other for something or ask for help that maybe they didn't know about because that other person has that ability and
Yes.
can teach and help them.
Yes. Yes.
And those are like functionally the things that I have done and seen that have really contributed to people being unified as a team, feeling like a team. They need to feel like a team. And
Yeah.
sometimes they don't. And I can say that so far, like this specific team that I have now really does feel like a team. And my team that I had built up before does too. And I love and enjoy that process a lot. I really, really do.
Well, you're highly relational. As
Yes.
driven as you are highly
I
relational.
am. Yeah.
And I'm curious. I know that there was one seminar that you did recently with some of our material, the 5 C's of leadership, and it just looked incredible what you did with the team. And it was really the first time that we gave our material to someone. Of course, we could give it to you because we trusted you. You did pay for it, but to give you opportunity to use our material and to bring it to your team, that was such an honor. And we loved hearing about the outcome. So tell us a little bit about the outcome of that.
Yeah, it was we had just kind of become a team. We had had some changes and some people move over. And so we had an offsite all together, and we just took that as an opportunity. And I had actually just got a new boss and he had also participated, which was amazing.
Yeah.
And so we just took the opportunity for everybody to identify within themselves what those each of those 5 C's, what that meant to them and how they saw it and
Yeah.
also what we saw it as a whole together. I mean, the team has grown tremendously since then. Since November when we did that project, I think we had to launch a whole new brand and a whole new product by February, and we did not get like the final marching orders for my exec team until November. And so this was really us being able to identify some of those things, gave each of the team members a little more insight to each other to help us execute that within basically 2.5 months because there was holidays. It wasn't happening, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, so it was a really great like foundational thing for them to like build on and understand within each other and understand even as a group, right? And I think it's also really important as a leader for you to participate because that gives them insight to you.
Yes.
And they need that insight to you because they need to really understand why you tick and the reason you and are the way you are and what you expect and where some of the boundaries may be and so forth. It supports them a lot. And so we thought they liked it. We thought it was a great thing and we enjoyed doing it. It was a lot of fun. We appreciated the exercise.
And well, we appreciated you using it as well. And just to clarify, the 5 C's of leadership really focus on the foundation of our character, how we lead ourselves, the competencies. We all have genius zones and competencies, and it's great to be able to talk about that amongst a team. Being consistent, what does that look like? You know, in your role and responsibility, consistency is one of the key factors to accomplishing the goals and the things that are important in the business, creating strong relationships. That's part of the leadership development of how we can create strong relationships with our teams. Because when we do, then overarching, there's a level of confidence that people end up having that they don't have when they first come into a team or if they haven't done any team building. It really does build confidence in the leadership, the team itself, and to be able to move forward with the things that need to be done.
Yeah,
So,
and you actually came in and did the exercise with one of my previous teams. You
yes.
and Kelsey both did. And that was a really good exercise for them too, because we were kind of at a crossroads and to a bit of like, where are we going as a team? Where's the company going? We weren't going to be contributing the same way that we had been because the company had changed so much. And we needed to really know how we were going to move forward. And the team was kind of struggling with that. And so when we were able to do that exercise, at first people thought we had a confidence problem, but then when we really kind of like took some of the layers off, we realized that it was actually a competency problem from the sense of now what we're being asked to do.
Yes.
We needed to increase our competency levels to be able to be more confident within our positions. And so it was a phenomenal exercise to take everybody through that and everybody identify, like, oh, it's not that we're incompetent. It's just that now we have new things that we need to tackle and understand. And we've got to increase that, which is going to actually make us more confident and not be feeling like this anymore during this transition. So it was a very powerful exercise.
Absolutely, it was, and it is. So it's
What I
awesome.
hear too is that the energy shifted in the team too. Like
Mhm.
the energy shifted from like, oh, we are confident here, but now we can put some more energy over here into building more of our competencies in those areas. And as energy is our one of our topics for this month, and it always is in the coaching process as well. I'm just curious how you keep up your positive energy as a leader, and as a mom too.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
And
know,
you saw her walk in, right? If you see the mute button, it was because she was
Right.
home.
it's all good. My alarm was going off for something for the
Yeah,
kids, so
yeah, yeah.
we're in it together. But and the positive energy I want to clarify as well. We know that we're not always able to keep 100% positive energy, and that is not the goal, because we want to be realistic, and yet we know that we can fill ourselves back up and get back to that positive energy. So how do you sustain your positive energy with all of the responsibility that you have in work and life?
Great question, and I'll be like very transparent about it. Um, I am like a very like transparent and authentic leader. So like I've always been what you see is what you get, right? So my team, honestly, a few months back, there was a lot of things going on within my company that were harder to transit. We are doing a lot of change management. And I was having to participate in that and quite a bit. And the change that needed to happen was my team wasn't able to move forward as maybe as quickly as we wanted to because that change needed to happen with others in the company. And it was hard. And I had a meeting set, but I had an executive meeting where we were talking through a lot of this change management. And I'm not going to lie, I was really depleted after that meeting. And I had to show up into my next meeting, and they had a ton of questions, and they wanted answers, and they wanted things to be moving, and they were frustrated. And I was really freaking frustrated, right? Because I wanted the same. I'm an achiever. I'm a go, go, go person. And when stuff stalls, it's hard for me. So I came into that meeting and I was pretty quiet. And then I really just told them, I was like, here's what it is here. And I was frustrated and you could see it all, right? And at the end of the meeting, I said, like, listen, I just need some time. I need to think this through. I need to process. And, Tess can attest to this. It used to take me days and days. Like, days. I would just sit in things and I would like, "Wah, wah, wah, wah," and now it's literally probably not even 24 hours, right? And so, like, the next day we met and I had a clear head and my energy was fine. And I knew how we were going to tackle it together and how I was going to move them forward. And I apologized to them for my attitude the day before, but I said, I just need this time to process, guys. Like, it takes me about 24 hours typically too, but I will get there and we will get to the place we all need to be. And I actually think that's been very effective because they see what's being done. They also appreciate the fact that I am showing up and being able to then lead them through it, right? I came back with the strategy. I came back with the plan that was able to keep their energy up and them going, which is not always easy because things just don't happen overnight, right?
Yeah.
And and so that one was really key. And so how I really do that is I make sure that I am taking the time to process and I make sure that I am creating the space, which is not always easy now as a parent, right? Because we got snow days, they want to, sitting next to you all the time. And so it's a whole new experience now for me personally, like just constantly balancing my nervous system
Yeah.
because it's all jumbled all the time.
Yeah.
But that's what's important. And, both of you really talk about this and teach this is just not only being accountable for it, but being very realistic and acknowledging the things that you need to do to create that continued stamina for that, right?
Yes.
And I had told the team at one point at a like a about a women's thing, like Women's History Month. They were interviewing execs at the company. And this has stuck with me for years since I was probably 16 and worked somewhere. Some lady told me, I don't get mad, I don't get even, I get ahead. And
Mhm.
that is like really how I think about things. And also, I was very honest, like I will call my friends, I will call my coach, and
Mhm.
I will let it rip. I need to
Mhm.
let it rip. I need to process. I need to yell, scream sometimes, and just
Yeah.
let it all go
Yeah.
so that I can bring my energy back and then be like thoughtful and more balanced.
Yeah.
And it has to move through you. And so you have to create, whether that's working out, whether that's journaling, whatever it is for you, you've got to move the energy through. And I don't get mad at it anymore because it's part of my passion that drives me. And
Yeah.
so I've had to learn how to manage it better so it becomes fuel instead of something that is hindering me or creating heaviness for me,
Yes. Yes. You said
which
that.
I like Tess can really attest to that because it used to be heavy all the time.
Well, I think what's interesting is being human is being on a constant learning curve. And when we look at leadership and we put them on a pedestal and think, oh, they're so this, so that, and they've got it all wired, they don't. There's not any leader we've worked with that has all the answers. It
Mhm.
is a learning process in being human, how we want to lead ourselves, which is why coaching can be so effective for people because it is a place to process.
Yeah.
It is a place to get all of this stuff out. So then you can really look at it and say, well, what do I want to keep and what do I want to let go of that's not serving me? Because if it's not serving me, then it's not going to serve my team. But being able to identify how do we, and you're really good at this, Denise, how you think about how you want to serve your team, you prepare yourself inwardly and externally of how you're going to do that. And you have good to better to best results in that process. And at the same time, it doesn't mean that there are times where we're human, you're human, and the days are not what you want them to be or what you really designed them to be. And the more we can put a pause on those days and recalibrate, we can identify, well, then what am I going to take with me moving forward? That because I know I still have strengths, I still have intellect, I still have leadership qualities, I still have all of these things that are working really well for me. And if something doesn't work well, then what do I just need to adjust in my own self? Because we're the only ones that can control our own inner being, right?
Completely.
Yeah.
And, I want to touch on what you said in the sense of you're also talking about building out a strategy from that point, right? So I want people to know that coaching isn't like therapy,
Mhm.
right? It can be a little bit, but it's not like therapy. Like you are putting things in place. Even if you're in therapy, you should be putting things in place of how you're going to adjust and move forward so that
Exactly.
you're experiencing something different going forward. And so if anybody is thinking about utilizing coaching, like know that it is a place to process, but once you've processed, it's a place to have somebody else help you put your strategy together and then be responsible and accountable for that strategy. How did it work? How did it not work? And your coach be able to, when you describe it to them, give you different points of view about that, about seeing that, especially because they deal with so many different personality types, right? So it
Yes.
gives you that level of objectivity and a way for you to almost have those checks and balances. Because when you are a leader and you become a director, a vice president, a CEO, a COO, whatever it is, you don't have as many people anymore.
Yeah.
One of the beauties about being a manager or a coordinator or any of that stuff is you just get to complain with all the other people you work with.
Yeah.
You get to process with them. You get to complain with them. You get to have your sessions with them. But once you become a leader, sometimes that's not available to you.
Mhm. Mhm.
And you can't just talk to the people that work for you. You can't. It's inappropriate. And
Mhm.
so you have to have a place to do this, and you need the right people on your team. And I think any executive needs to think about their own team, not just within their work, but like almost think of it as your own board of directors, like a
Yeah.
coach, an advocate, a friend, other people. Like I have other marketers that technically would be on my board, right? And I call them, and I have other marketers that call me. And it's like, I had one the other day reach out to me on LinkedIn and was like, hey, can we chat? And we're just talking about how we move through some of this stuff,
Mhm.
right? And so everybody needs that. And I really encourage leaders to take that approach because that gives them the resources that they need to then support how they make good decisions for
Absolutely.
everyone.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I love
Wow.
that board of directors concept, and it really is the relationship building, which is what we encourage and have built our business off of here at TC&A as well. So you're such a wonderful example and bright light of all of the learning that you've done, and I know that it hasn't always been an easy, smooth ride, and
Right.
it's not for any of us, right? But I just respect your resilience and your drive and your passion and your energy, Denise. We are so grateful to have you a part of TC&A, and we're looking forward to all the future as well. And
Thank
I am curious as we wrap up here, what is one thing that you're looking forward to for 2025? I know your schedule's probably packed with a lot of different things and probably some travel and stuff too, but what's one thing that you're looking forward to most?
things coming to fruition. You
Mm,
know, what I have learned is things build and things take time. And Tess probably has articulated the best about this about me that I didn't really I could identify it about myself, but I don't think I could articulate it in this way. But she articulated it actually to some senior management at one of my companies at one point, and she's like, Denise is a seer. She can see ahead of you, all of you. And that has been a challenge for me in my career because I don't always know how to bring people along to where I'm at. And I've had to learn about people's readiness levels. And
Yes.
so, over the last year, year and a half, I've been waiting for a lot of people's readiness levels. And I really feel like 2025, they're going to catch up a little bit more and we're going to be like riding high and going again. So, I'm excited for that. And I'm also like just as thankful, right? Like this coaching and this friendship relationship has been something that has been so supportive in, my 20s and 30s, very much so, that has helped me propel my career. I mean, when I started on this journey, I was working for a grower-based organization that was not for profit and was amazing. And it really supported my servant leadership style, but I also wasn't going to keep growing. And because of all of the coaching, mirroring that up with my personality type that you just identified, I've been able to keep going and I've been able to grow as a professional, grow as a leader. And that has changed over the last 13 years a lot. It changed from being somebody who just likes to achieve, achieve, achieve to somebody who really wanted to help other people develop, to somebody who wanted to foster and create and build teams, and to now somebody who wants to kind of like do all of that more. And how do I even do that at a bigger scale or a more impactful scale? To me, the most important thing is that I'm impactful. Like that is what make drives me the most, is that whatever I'm contributing to or doing is going to be beneficial for others and the company or whoever I'm working for. And so coaching helps me keep going. Coaching helps me with that resilience, 100%. So it
Wow.
has been an amazing ride as well on my side.
Well, buckle up. We've got more.
Yeah, more, we're going.
Buckle up for everybody. There's a lot more. And your words just so ring true for us. You're speaking into us as well. And we are just looking forward to the continued opportunities and success that are out there for you and for your team. And Denise, you're an incredible woman.
Thank
Knowing you
you.
for these 13 years and all of the twists and turns and highs and lows and the ultimate light and love that you exude as a woman, a mother, and a friend, and even a leader is just we're so proud of you, and
Thank
we're just
you.
so blessed to have you as part of our lives and our relationships, and we have a great depth of gratitude for you as well.
I appreciate you saying that. Thank you. I receive it. I
Mm,
definitely receive it. It's much appreciated on my end.
We're
mm.
all giving and extending the
Yeah.
gratitude,
Yes.
and we're grateful for all those who have tuned in and watched via the newsletter, Your Choice. We look forward to seeing you back in March for another guest. And Denise, thank you again for your time, your energy, and your heart. We're
Yes.
Aw, thanks, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.